Hi Wolves, welcome to your first March Den meeting. I'm your Den leader, Ben. Please stand and join us in our Pledge of Allegiance, our Scout Oath, and our Scout Law.
All right. Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Please join me in the Scout sign and repeat the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Please join me in the Scout Law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
All right, Wolves, so today we're gonna learn about the air around us, and even though maybe we can't see it, we're gonna get to do some experiments to see how that air affects different objects, like maybe a paper airplane, and maybe even see how it affects a basketball. And make sure we're gonna write down those results and track it over different changes we make to those experiments to see how that effect really works. All right, let's go check it out.
Jeez, where's Den Leader Ben, Wolves? I'm worried. We're gonna have a special guest today. His name is Scientist Ernest. I hope he's here to meet him.
Hi Wolves! All right, so today we're gonna do an experiment with some paper airplanes that I made. So we're gonna see if we can figure out how they fly and how kind of the design affects how they fly, and we're gonna measure how far they go.
Yeah, Scientist Ernest. I know a lot of scouts definitely have different ways of measuring things. What are some ways we can measure how far our planes go?
So there's a few different options we have. Some of them we can measure like with a ruler or maybe a tape measure, or just really any object that we have as a consistent length. Today, we're gonna do it kind of different. We're gonna measure in steps. So I'm gonna throw it, I'm gonna have you walk to the paper airplane and count how many steps it is to get to where it lands.
Awesome, I see we got some different designs. We're gonna throw them multiple times.
For sure, so we've got our chart over here where we're gonna record our results. We're gonna throw each airplane 3 times and see if we can notice a pattern.
Okay.
All right, let's get to it. So I've got it listed our 5 numbered airplanes because each of our airplanes are numbered. And then I've got 3 different columns here for where we're gonna list our steps. For the first throw, our second throw, and then our third throw. And then we can see the results and kind of how each airplane does.
Yeah, Scientist Ernest. So as we're doing this, we can definitely see maybe at the end for our Wolf Scouts so they can understand how a chart works and how scientists chart things.
And it's really important, especially this is a real easy way to make sure and see if you can see a pattern in different when you're doing an experiment.
Awesome. Well, let's get to it.
All right, here we go. Awesome. Now, if you notice, I'm going to stand in the same spot every time I throw it. We want to try to keep as much of this experiment consistent, and then so that we can see which airplane flies the best.
Yeah, I'm always going to count from the same spot too, so that way we never lose track. So I'm going to go where your toes
We're going to start
are.
right at where kind of this table is. All right, so here's throw number 1 of airplane number 1.
Nine from the tip.
All right, so I'm going to airplane number 1, throw 1. What is 9? All right, now we're going to throw airplane number 2. Same spot again. Here we go. Oh, that one maybe went a little bit shorter. Let's see. 7. 7. All right, I'm going to write 7. Throw airplane number 2. All right, now we've got airplane number 3. Let's see how this one does. Oh, one. That one won. All right. Airplane number 3 went 1. All right, now I'm going to grab airplane number 4. Let's see how this one does. 6. All right, airplane 4 was 6. And now airplane number 5. Ooh, that one might be our farthest one. I'm trying to see. 11. 11. All right. Now we get our first throw. Now we're going to throw each airplane 2 more times. All right, Sheldon, let's take a look at our results here. So if we notice, airplane 1 had a couple pretty good throws. Airplane 5 had one or two. Which one was our longest throw, though?
I think that was airplane 1.
Yeah, so we had 13 steps there. That was our best one. But if we were to look at each throw, and that's why we threw each airplane 3 times, our best airplane was actually airplane number 5.
Okay.
Because it scored a total of 30 steps. Airplane 1 only actually scored a total of 29 steps.
Okay.
And we had a couple that didn't do very well at all. But that's why we experiment and see which one flies the best and which ones maybe don't fly super well.
Yeah, so when we experiment, Ernest, what is the point of experimenting with these planes?
So we just wanted to kind of see how the design of an airplane affects how it flies. And right now we're inside, but if we were to do this outside, we'd also have to think about the wind direction and wind speed and how that affects how airplanes fly as well.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different factors, and when we create a chart like this, we can add. So we could add like a whole new row that says throw number 1 outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, charts are a great way to compare different results and a very easy to look at map.
Yeah, so if a Wolf Scout really wants to win his airplane race with his den, he definitely can by charting out his paper airplane beforehand
Yeah.
and seeing which design works the best.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of scientists do with a whole lot of stuff, is they experiment to see which one is the best and which things maybe aren't very good.
Well, Ernest, I have another question for you. You think you could help us with another experiment about how much we should fill up a basketball? Because I love playing basketball, and I want to know like what is the best amount of air to put in to make it bounce the most. Do you think you can help us?
Yeah, for sure. We can go see, we'll take a basketball that has really not a lot of air, and then we'll kind of increase the air pressure in it and see how much it bounces.
Increase means like go up, right?
Right, for sure.
Yeah. So why don't you guys come with us, and Ernest is gonna help us out. I don't know where Ben is.
I'm not sure. All right, let's go do that experiment though. All right, Sheldon, so we've got another chart here. We're gonna do another experiment. We're gonna have a basketball that you've got with you right there.
Yeah, I really like playing basketball, and I was wondering if you could help us see how much air we put inside of these and how better they bounce.
Yeah, so we've got a couple different pressures that we're gonna test. So what's called PSI, that stands for pounds per square inch. So it's basically the amount of pressure that's inside that basketball. So we're gonna try a few different PSI levels, and then we're gonna make a guess or a hypothesis of how many bounces we think it's gonna bounce, and then we're gonna measure how much it actually bounces and see how close our hypothesis was.
So a hypothesis is just a simple guess of how many times we think our ball is going to bounce.
Yeah, so it's an educated guess for what we think the end result is gonna be.
Yeah, so even if I'm seeing this one right now, and this has 0 PSI in it, according to our gauge, we know that if we bounce it, more than likely because it's flat, I know flat things don't bounce, so a good one for this one, for our guess or our hypothesis, this one's going to be 0.
Yeah,
0
I think
is
that's probably a safe guess, so we'll write 0 there. Now what do you think for 2 PSI?
It's a hard one because I don't know. So when we put air in, that's pounds per
square
inch inside of our basketball, and so that's the amount of air that's in there, right? So maybe 2 is 6 bounces?
Let's put that down, and then when we measure it, we can see how close I guess was. So I would say 6 for that. How about?
Also for our max PSI, 100.
100 bounces. All right. Well, It's okay to make guesses like that because we don't know. And now we're gonna measure it. So we'll start with 0 PSI. We'll test that one and then we'll increase the pressure and see how much they actually bounce.
Okay.
All right, let's go to it.
Here, you take the pressure
Perfect.
gauge, and then you take our ball, and then I'm gonna head up. All right, Scientist Ernest, I'm ready.
All right, Sheldon, so we're gonna start our first bounce at 0 PSI. I'm gonna hang the basketball and we're gonna try to aim for the X.
All right. Let's see if our hypothesis was correct.
Oh.
Zero bounces.
All right, so now that we've done our drop with 0 PSI, we're gonna increase the pressure in that ball, and I'm gonna use a pump just like this. It's got a needle on the top here that we can put into the ball to help pump it up, and it's got a gauge right here on the front that we can measure what the PSI is. So all right, let's inflate our basketball. All right, so now that we've inflated it to 2, I'm gonna hand it back to Sheldon, and I want you to drop it till you can hit the same spot, and we're gonna see how many bounces we can get. I counted about 10 bounces. What did you get?
I got about 10 too, Ernest.
All right, let's add that to our chart. All right, so now let's increase the PSI to our next level. Sheldon, just drop the ball.
I got 26. How many did you get?
I got 25, so I think we're pretty much at the same. So I think let's stick with. Well, I'll trust your number. So let's go with 26. All right, Sheldon. Let's take a look at the numbers that we got.
So again, we're doing this experiment because I want to find out what is the best amount of PSI to put in my ball, so that way when I play basketball, I can have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at our numbers. So we got our guess for 0 PSI was 0. And what was our actual one?
0.
We got that one right. Now for 2, we guessed 6.
10.
It actually was a little bit higher, but we weren't that far off. We made a pretty good guess. How about for 4, we guessed 8. 13 on a bounce, so we're still a little bit off, but we're, again, not doing terrible. But then kind of towards the end here, especially our last one, we were a little bit off.
I was really excited. I hope I get a bunch of bounces, but obviously being up so high, I did notice that when we had more air, when we're up so high, it bounced taller.
And we especially noticed that from when we went to no air, even a little bit of pressure in there, we saw a huge jump.
Yeah. So I definitely think that for me, I definitely want like about 6 PSI in my basketball, because I don't want this, because at 10 right now, it's really hard to like push together, so it's not really mushy. I'm kind of afraid it's gonna blow up. I think definitely 6 PSI is right where I want it to have an awesome game.
I would say between 6 and 8 is probably a good range.
All right, well, thank you, Ernest, for having us here today. I don't know where Ben went, but we did lots of cool experiments. You showed us how to use
That we use that air pump, and we got
Air
to
pump?
then look at different results on how that happened.
yeah, you showed us how to use this air pump and PSI, and we showed graphs with everything. So that was really awesome. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you get to meet Ben someday.
Yeah, he sounds like a really cool guy. I hope to meet him sometime.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go ahead and head out. So
All right.
thank you for being here.
See ya. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. We got to see some really cool experiments about how air affects how different objects float or sink, and we also got to track those results on our chart. So if you want to do that at home, you certainly can, and make sure you chart your results so you can kind of see how different effects have on different objects. And then next time, we're going to talk a little bit about germs and how to make sure we can stay safe from some of those germs. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye.